That's not enough for you to vote for this campaign. Why don't you go to the other and hold up a sign behind him at a rally and tap dance? That's what they want from you.
Said succinctly and with passion, the great Wendell Pierce. Thank you so much for taking some time with us.
There's blood on that ballot box. Remember those who died in the rivers of Alabama and Mississippi? There's blood on that ballot box. To them, do the honor and vote.
Thank you, sir.
Black actors and celebrities like this guy, Wendell Pierce, are the ones that keep black people constantly aggrieved and constantly in a state of victimhood. This guy is shilling for the Democratic Party because he's part of the black bougie elite. He's part of that triumvirate that I talked about, where you got the church plant pastors at the top, the ones that sabotage the black community, the paraministry of the Democratic Party in the black community. Then you have the academia and media and those people. And then you got these entertainers, these rappers, these athletes. They all come together to keep black people voting democratically. This man had the audacity to say this kind of stuff.
The black man, why should we fear the rise of a black woman? Any black man that has an issue with a black woman rising, then they have to look at their own inadequacy. What would make you so fearful of someone who was so beloved of you, who was so beloved to you, like your mother and your grandmother and your aunts and your sisters, that you cannot be proud and embolden yourself when you see someone from your community rise up? And I say to those black men who have an issue politically, you have every right to say, what have you done for me? And I'll give you the laundry list. The community banking system and legislation from the 90s, the $2 billion that the Biden-Harris administration just gave to black farmers.
And that farmers deal was a settlement because those farmers had been discriminated against for years and years and years. It wasn't something that the Biden administration gave to them. This was a settlement for all the discrimination those farmers had been experiencing, things they did not receive that other people had received.
The empowerment zones that Mr. Trump talks about all the time came from Barack Obama. And what he did and all of his buddies, they just got them and just used them as tax write-offs instead of actually doing something in the community. So when you go to those black neighborhoods and you see those boarded up windows, that's just a tax shell for some billionaire while they don't bring any businesses to the community.
And this stuff about empowerment zones, first of all, it's called opportunity zones, sir. And what you're referring to, the boarded up buildings, they're probably boarded up because of the Democratic policies that stifle entrepreneurship, that stifle growth, that stifle economic opportunity. The Democratic Party is not about the elevation of black people. It's not. The Democratic Party is not about the elevation of black people. It's only about the elevation of themselves. It's only about the elevation of power. That's what they're about. So you can't sit here and talk about the Democrats did it, community banking. Are you serious? Are you giving the Democrats credit for that?
But it's because of the empowerment zones that the Democrats have created for black entrepreneurs, for the community benefit, a development legislation that allows banks to give and invest in our communities, to give you an opportunity. The money given to HBCUs, the student debt relief, all of that. If that's not enough for you to vote for this campaign, why don't you go to the other and hold up a sign behind him at a rally and tap dance? That's what they want from you.
Said succinctly and with passion, the great Wendell Pierce. Thank you so much for taking some time with us.
There's blood on that ballot box. Remember those who died in the rivers of Alabama and Mississippi? There's blood on that ballot box. To them, do the honor and vote.
Thank you, sir.
And this man sitting up here saying we're tap dancing because we choose to vote differently. See, that's what they're doing. They know they are struggling. They are struggling so much with black men in particular. They're going to now shame black men into voting for Kamala Harris. Why is it that the black community is the only one where people get shamed for thinking for yourself? The black community is the only one where people shame you for thinking for yourself. That's why I say they have an agenda. Number one, their agenda is to drive God out of the community, to drive the real God, to drive Jesus out of the community, because the Democratic Party is full of Marxists and communists and socialists, and they don't care about God. They despise God. They despise the idea of Christianity. They pretend, and that's why I support these church plant pastors, because they don't preach the real gospel. The real gospel leads to your flourishing. The real gospel leads to your uplifting, because if you know Jesus, you know that no politician, Republican or Democrat, can influence you, can stop you from achieving what God has for you. But these church plant pastors and these celebrities and these actors, they want to keep black people focused on a white man keeping you down, whereas the Democratic Party is the one that's actually pulling the strings in a lot of these cases. The simple fact, this man said, we are tap dancing because we choose to think differently. We choose to vote differently. It's a shame. That's a shame, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised of this tactic. It's the same tired tactic that they use every 2 to 4 years to shame black people, especially black men, to vote for the Democratic Party. I don't think it's going to work this time. Too many black people are hip to your game. Liberals, progressive, Marxists, and communists, they're hip to your game. They realize that you have not. That dude struggled to name things that the Democratic Party, that the Biden administration had done. And what about people that are more concerned about the future of the black community, concerned about all these abortions that are happening, concerned about these soft on crime policies, these Soros DAs that are letting people out, they're committing crimes in the community? What about that? What about educational opportunity? All these failing schools black children are having to go to, while these black bougie elite send their children to private schools. What about that, sir? What about you allowing drag queens to come read to your children in school? What about that, sir? What about those things? Those things don't matter to you because they don't affect you. Your job, your agenda, your mission is to keep black people subservient to the Democratic Party. That's your mission. That's your goal. You want to keep black people constant victims. We're not victims. We are empowered for greatness.